In the last video, I talked about making language easier to process. But even when learners can follow the language, there's still something missing. Because to use language, learners need to hear it first. Teachers are constantly modeling language, but we don't always recognize it as teaching. We think of modeling as something quite deliberate, something we plan, but actually it's happening all the time. So in this video, I want to show you a few small teacher moves that provide learners with accurate, meaningful language without stopping the lesson and without turning it into a grammar explanation. My name's Jane Maria Harding Rosa from Enriching ELT. But the first thing would be rephrasing student language, or sometimes this is called recasting. This is probably one of the most powerful and most invisible moves. A learner says something and we reformulate it slightly. But in subject classrooms, we are not just correcting the grammar, we're upgrading the language of the subject. Here are some examples. The plant grows because of the sun. Yes, it grows because of sunlight. It rains a lot there. Yes, that area has high rainfall. The metal gets bigger when it's hot. Yes, the metal expands when heated. What's important here is this. We're not interrupting communication. We're not correcting explicitly. We're reshaping the language so learners hear how ideas are expressed in that subject. And that gives them access not just to correct language, but to the language of thinking, explaining, and reasoning. Number 2, modelling before asking. This is something teachers often do instinctively as well. Before asking learners to explain, justify, or compare, we model the language first. But in subject classrooms, this isn't just an example, it's a way of making the thinking visible through language. I think the Amazon is longer than the Nile. Can you compare these two rivers? I think plants grow faster because they get more sunlight. Why do you think plants grow faster? The temperature increases because the particles gain energy. Why does the temperature increase in this experiment? People migrate to urban areas in search of employment opportunities. Why do people move to cities? What we're doing here is this. We're not just asking a question, we're giving learners a structure for thinking and responding before we expect them to use it. So they're not starting from nothing. They're starting with a model. Number 3 is language echoing. Now, this is slightly different from recasting. Here, the learner's language is already good and we repeat it. For example, the temperature increases because of climate change. Yes, the temperature increases because of climate change. The character is angry because he lost his job. Yes, he's angry because he lost his job. That repetition does two things. It reinforces accurate language and it gives other learners another chance to hear it. So one learner's answer becomes input for everyone. Number 4 is the micro repetition in interaction, and it's very subtle. As teachers, we often reuse the same language during a discussion. So, for example, a student says, Mount Everest is higher than Mont Blanc. This road is longer than that one. We're not drilling, we're just naturally recycling the structure across different examples, and that repetition helps learners start to internalize it. So if we step back again, all of these moves have something in common. They provide learners with accurate language in meaningful context at the moment they need it. And that's very different from explaining rules. Because knowing about language is not the same as being able to use it. And learners don't develop language just by hearing explanations. They develop it by hearing language used meaningfully again and again. So rather than thinking, how can I explain this language clearly? We might shift to, how can I make sure learners hear this language enough in context? In the next video, I'm going to move this one step further, because once learners are hearing language, we also need to create opportunities for them to work with it, to try it out, to experiment, and to use it themselves. So, I'm always interested to know, do you recognise yourself doing any of these already? And which one do you think has the biggest impact in your classroom? If you're interested in how these kinds of classroom moves fit into a wider framework for language learning, this is something I explore more through the MMM framework. The link's in the comments below. Bye.